This week on the blank canvas, I'm going to talk about stepping into the light with your career of passion. As well, I think I almost caught a unicorn, and believe it or not, I pulled some cards. A question I get from a lot of my clients is about their career. So many of them are feeling stuck in a career or a job that they don't love, and they would like to transition into a job or career that is much more heart-centered and just has a lot more meaning for them, and is just much more in alignment with who they are. And they're wondering why it's been so difficult to do that. And I really feel like I can speak on this subject because I did exactly that. I transitioned from the corporate world in commercial interior design and architecture to this career that I have now, which is being a spiritual artist, having my own oracle deck, and doing readings for people, and doing a vlog like this, which are two very different careers. And this career that I have now is very heart-centered, and it has a lot of meaning for me. So it was a really good transition for me, but I have to say that I wish I had the wisdom that I have now, so that I could have made that transition a lot easier on myself than I did. I would love to share some insights with you that I would have loved to share. I would have loved to have shared with myself back at that time 13 years ago when I started this transition. Probably the biggest piece of information that I would have given myself was that what I was embarking on and the journey I was embarking on in shifting careers was actually a huge evolutionary step for me, and really a paradigm shift from one set of beliefs and values to a completely different set of beliefs and values, which is a really big deal. And I think I probably didn't take that seriously enough, and I caused myself a lot of stress because of it. So I was expecting that I would just be able to jump into this new career of being an artist, being a spiritual artist, and that somehow the universe would just sort of magically financially support me. But really how it works is that it's our belief system that is running the show, whether it's conscious or unconscious. And with those beliefs come our emotions. So those negative emotions we feel when we're, in resistance to something. And so what happened to me was that my beliefs were not in alignment with having the money come in that I needed while I was doing what I loved. I really did not have that belief system in place yet. And I caused myself a lot of financial stress. And so what I would do differently now is understand that I had, first of all, a lot of personal work to do, shadow work, which includes emotional integration work, mental work, which includes really looking at my beliefs, my core beliefs and my thoughts, having a really strong spiritual practice to keep me feeling aligned and centered. And then from that place of being more aligned and centered, taking inspired action towards what I wanted to do. And all the time doing this while I was still financially supporting myself, either in my career, or even finding a transitional career that would free up some of my energy that I was putting into my original career, in emotional stress and mental stress. So transitioning into a new career that then would free up that energy to be able to put that energy into what I wanted to create. And so I would love to recommend a couple of resources to do some of that work with. So for myself, one resource that really helped me with my shadow work, the emotional integrational shadow work, is a book called The Presence Process by Michael Brown, and really an amazing book that helped me understand how to fully integrate my emotions from my past. So this helped me to really delve deep into my negative feelings and understand them and start to integrate them so that they're no longer unconsciously running the show. And the other part of that shadow work is really questioning your beliefs. And I find that's easier to do as I started to do the really heavy emotional integration work. I started to get more clarity about what my beliefs were. And so I would love to recommend the work by Byron Katie for doing that work on your beliefs. And it really is shadow work, and it's beautiful. And it's very powerful in helping people understand what their beliefs are that are really holding them back and harming themselves and unconsciously harming others, right? And those beliefs really keep us from moving forward and doing what we want to do. The biggest fears that most people have when they are making this change is, first of all, money. So how will they support themselves? And secondly, what will people think? And usually it's what will my family think? And so these are big beliefs to work through and to change and to shift. And so don't expect that you can just shift and change them overnight, because they have taken an entire lifetime. You've taken an entire lifetime to get to this point, and these beliefs have been at your core for your whole life. So believing that you have to work hard at something that you actually don't enjoy, and the belief that you can't make money doing what you enjoy, what you love, and that you'll be disappointing everybody around you, your family, be it your parents or being your current family, your partner and that sort of thing. So those are big issues to work through. And then as well, the emotional integration work that comes with that. And you'll know that you have emotional integration work when you try to think about moving forward and you think about your career that you want, and you have negative feelings coming up. That is your shadow that is showing that you are not in alignment with what you want. So that's why you want to do that work for yourself. So why bother doing this at all if it sounds and it feels like really hard work? Well, as Jordan Peterson says, it's our moral obligation and responsibility to pursue what has meaning for us. Those might not be his exact words, but that's the gist of what he says. And the reason for that is it gives our life purpose, and we then make this world a better place through giving and sharing our gifts, and through sharing our light, and through inspiring others to do the same thing and to live a life of meaning. And really, I think for me and for most people, the alternative is far worse than this work that needs to be done to do this transition. The alternative is living a life and having a career with no meaning. And for me, that just feels absolutely hopeless to me. And why would I want to live a life without meaning. So to me, the alternative isn't even an option. And so I offer the solutions that I already spoke about, which is taking care and delving into the personal, emotional, mental, and spiritual and physical work. And as well, I think it can be extremely helpful for you to find someone that you know that has gone through this process successfully and is on the other side of it, that can help to mentor you, if not just even just talk to you a little bit about it personally. And if you don't know anybody like that, then you can certainly hire someone like a life coach or like myself that can help you with this process. And actually, this process brings me to my painting update, which, as you can see, my unicorn has really grown some depth and some teeth since last week, which is really, really exciting for me. I love to watch the process of my paintings. And what's really starting to come through, the message that's really starting to come through for me in this painting is that the unicorn understands itself. And because it understands itself, it is a warrior of light. And it's not afraid of its shadows. It's not afraid of its darkness. And because of that, it can face the shadows and the darkness in its strength and in its light and in its beauty. So that message is starting to come through, and I think this painting is going to be finished really soon, and I'll be really excited to share that with you and to share the full message of it with you. So the reading for the week came up with 3 wonderful cards which spoke very clearly to me about this subject that I was talking about today and making this huge life change in career. So the first card, which goes in the middle of the spread and is the most important card in the spread and is the medicine for the situation, is Release the Past. And so Release the Past is talking about being really present and not living in the past or the future. So usually we live in the past with our thoughts and the emotions that go with that, the negative emotions that go with that, and we live in the future in the same way with fear of the future, uncertainty of the future. And neither of these things actually obviously help us to move forward and to create the life that we want. So what this card is saying is that what's really important for this process is that you do the work so that you can be present. Because in the present moment is where it all happens, baby. That's where you are in alignment with yourself. That's where you get your inspired action. That's where you take your inspired action. That's where you get that beautiful information, those incredible insights and ideas that make you go, oh, I can do this, or I can contact this person. And sometimes it's subtle. Like, it's like, you know what? I really feel like I should go here now. But we don't get those insights. We don't get that information unless we're actually really present with ourselves. So being really aware of when we're not present and why, and doing the work that we need to do to either integrate our emotions, look at our beliefs so that we can be present again. And a lot of that also has to do with spiritual practices. Meditation is very important. Even just a simple breathing meditation, which brings us into the present moment and allows us to be more present throughout. The second card is Know That It Is Done. And this card is about the basics of manifestation. And so it's about clearly visualizing and feeling what it is that you want. You don't even necessarily need to know the details of what that is yet, but it's more, how do I want to feel when I am doing my work? How do I feel? What am I experiencing? How does it feel when I'm, making those connections and just doing what I love? And so the clearer you can be about that, the faster the universe can bring that to you. And if you're feeling a lot of resistance, you're having a lot of negative emotions coming up, then it just means that you have more shadow work to do, more emotional integration, and more of the mental work just to find that clarity. And the third card is trust yourself. Trust yourself is asking you to get in touch with your quiet intuition. Our intuition does not speak to us through our emotions. Our intuition is not an emotional reaction. Our intuition is that quiet voice underneath all of that static and noise of our emotions. And so if you are not in touch with your intuition, then I really encourage you to do that. So in order to do that, you need to get really quiet and still. And you can even find other resources. You can even Google like how to connect to your intuition, how to follow your intuition. But again, it is that quiet voice underneath all of that noise. And for me, it can be as simple as, yes, just feeling like an open feeling, and no being a closed feeling, which really helps me to make decisions in my life. And I might not know why it's a yes or a no, but I follow it because it's usually right. So those two cards really help to fine-tune the first card of Release the Past, which is asking you just to be present, and they just help you to do that more powerfully. So this week we had a chance to upload our updated version of my guided meditation to find your animal spirit. So I thank you guys for your feedback on it. It was a little bit hard to hear, and so we remastered it, and it's louder and just a little bit easier to hear. And it really warms my heart to see how many people have viewed that guided meditation and my other guided meditations, and it's encouraging, and I really love it, and I love you guys. Because of our amazing response, at Christmas time, I have decided to include free shipping for all of my products. So you can order my oracle cards, my original paintings, or my readings on my Etsy site or my website. That's it for today. Thank you so much for joining me and for subscribing. Blessings to you. And where was I going with that? Oh, the light just went out. Today on the blank canvas,